crafty friends, it's Jess from Jess Crafts, and I am here with Mint Mondays, where I will be sharing a tutorial featuring the Mint Owl Studio stamps and sequins. Today's card features the Lilies of Hope stamp set, which was part of the March release. It is a gorgeous floral stamp set with a number of beautiful sayings, including "Your kindness means so much," "Those we love do not go away, they walk beside us every day," and "Deepest sympathies." I could see using those cards with these images and creating some gorgeous sympathy cards. But for today, I wanted to keep it a little bit lighter, and I am making a birthday card. I am starting with a single lily from the collection, and I'll be stamping it 3 separate times. And I'm going to need masks because I will be doing a little bit of ink blending around it. Because I knew that this card would, or in my head, I wanted it to be a very soft card, but also a clean and simple card, I knew that I wanted my stamping to be perfect. And in order to get perfect black stamping, I find really the only way to guarantee it is with the Misty tool or something similar where you can re-stamp, like a stamp positioner, stamp majig, something like that, where you can stamp in the same exact spot a few times and get a really dark line. Because I'm going to be doing some Copic coloring, I'm using the My Favorite Things Black Licorice Hybrid ink, but you could use Memento ink as well, whichever you feel gives the best impression. I am covering the lily image with some Inkadinka stamping mask paper. Cutting out the lily itself was very easy. Cutting out the stem is a little bit fussier, but necessary to create the soft blue glow around them. However, when I was doing the secondary stamping, where I'm stamping the lilies behind this first lily, so I'll have 2 lilies behind it, I didn't cover it with I didn't cover the stem yet, because I didn't need to at this point. However, once I realized the inking that I wanted to add, I knew that I would have to cover those stems as well. If you are really having a hard time covering the stems, you could do the blue ink over them and then use a darker green, and it would cover up the light blue. However, for the look that I wanted to cover it, so I took the time and fussy cut all those masks and very carefully and gently laid them on. And the stem I cut off separate from the flower, and I wrapped the bottom of the stem mask around the card so that it would hold in place securely. For this instance, where you're doing a lot of inking over it, I really do recommend the high quality mask paper. I use one from Inkadinka. There's other ones out there, but you really want it to stick firmly down. And I'm going to be doing some inking around it with Distress ink. I am using the Tumbled Glass, which is the lightest blue in the collection, and I am gradually building ink. I'm not putting too much ink on my sponge because I am looking for a really soft look. I want it to fade into the white, and so I'm just really taking my time and building a lot of layers of color and making it darker towards the bottom and fade out as it goes. And if you try to add too much ink in any one spot at first, you could create the circle impression of the inking tool, or you could create an area that's much darker and then therefore a lot harder to blend out. And you want to just keep those things in mind and be patient with it. A card like this is actually all about patience. When you look at the finished cards, you might think, oh, that's just so simple because it has very much clean lines, but it takes a long time sometimes to create those. However, you do get better with practice, and these masks can be used multiple times. So while yes, it takes a while to cut them all out, I store them right here on my stamp set so that if I ever want to do something like this again, I can easily just put these masks right back on and save myself some time. So, take care of your masks because it does save you time in the future. I looked up pictures of these lilies online to see what different color options there might be and to think about which one would be appropriate for a birthday, because I do know that lilies are work well for sympathy cards, but I wanted to make sure that I kind of kept that more of a birthday happy sort of theme. And so I found a recommendation for the purple colors. However, the purple of the lily fades into white, and it's a dark purple into a white. And that kind of intimidated me, even though I have a decent amount of experience with Copics and I have a good variety of different Copic markers to work with. But the purple ones I have found to be a little bit tricky to blend. And so what I'm using here is the V25 with the V20, and they're a little bit far apart, but I don't want to add too many colors. And then I'm taking it all the way down to the V0, or sorry, the V000 to get a really sort of faded out effect, and finishing it off with a C00 as well. So I add the lightest color first because I do want to give it some base coat, give it something to sink into. I am using a pretty thick cardstock so it can take a decent amount of ink. And then I lay on the darker color and start blending it out. You want to be careful with how much ink you put down because the more ink you put down, the darker the color is going to get. However, I found that the reason I wanted to use the C00 marker is because I wanted to make sure that the fade to white wasn't too stark, and so therefore by laying that really light coat of gray over everything, it still reads as white, but the purple fades out much nicer. So that might be something you want to give a try if you're having a hard time with that. Again, I pulled out the Misty stamping tool because I wanted to make sure that my sentiment looked really, really nice and really, really crisp. And so I'm going to be able to stamp it multiple times with that tool. But any sort of stamp positioning tool will work out well. I liked how it turned out. I was happy after all that work, but I just felt like it needed a little something extra. And what I love about Mint Owl Studio is besides making gorgeous and cute, adorable stamp sets, they also have their sequins. And they're fun sequins because they have a mix of matte sequins and then some with a little bit more shine. And you can get these mixes. So I have the Royalty mix here, which has some light purple, some dark purple, and then some like this really deep reddish purple. And so I was able to coordinate them well with my card because it wasn't just one solid purple that if it didn't happen to match the purple you chose, when you chose your markers, you're kind of out of luck there. But because there's a couple different purples, your options are more open. And it even has 2 different sizes so that if you want to use 2 different sizes on your cards, you have all that in one mix. And so I just kind of glued them on randomly to add a little bit of sparkle of embellishment. And that is it for my card today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're interested in the products used, please check the video description below so you can head over to Mint Owl Studio and check out their social media links in the video description as well. Thanks for watching. Bye.